You know, it's Oz the Great and Powerful here, baby. In Rock Hill, South Carolina, we in front of the Kounter, see the sign with a K, restaurant and counter where you sit at the counter and eat. This is one of the famous places where the Friendship Nine, many Rock Hill protesters were arrested, convicted, and fined on January 31st, 1961. 10 students from Friendship Junior College were arrested when they refused to leave McCrory's. 9 would not pay their fines and became the first civil rights sit-in protesters in the nation to serve jail time. This new jail no bail strategy by the Friendship Nine was soon adopted as the model strategy for the Freedom Rides of 1961. This is historical, baby. Look at this part. McCrory's civil rights sit-ins. This building, built in 1901, was occupied by McCrory's 5 and Dime from 1937 to 1997. On February 12, 1960, black students from Friendship Junior College in Rock Hill were denied service at the McCrory's lunch counter, but refused to leave. Their sit-in was one of the first many calling attention to the segregation of public places in downtown Rock Hill. These protests lasted for more than a year. Amazing. So we're going to go in here because the jail no bail movement and the civil rights movement, 30 days impacted the civil rights movement. In Rock Hill on January 31st, 1961, a group of young men walked into McCrory's 5 and Dime on Main Street, sat down at the lunch counter, and were arrested for trespassing. Jail no bail, how 30 days impacted the civil rights movement, captures the unique role their protests played in the 1960s civil rights movement. These are amazing heroes. We're going to walk through the counter now. See the counter? And we're going to see exactly where this place was, McCrory's, where they came and sat and did their protest, their peaceful protest. And here are the plaques of the people who sat at these counter seats. You can see. And basically, this is the counter that they sat at and demanded their human rights be respected. We're going to go out here outside right now. We're walking through the door and we're going to look at the museum. Thank you. Where they've done this great presentation. Jail no bail, baby. Here is, right here, James Farmer, National Director of CORE, Thomas Gaither, James T. McCain, Brother David Boone, Dr. James Goodlow, Reverend Cecil Ivory, and the student activists were Willie McLeod, Robert McCall, Willie T. Dub Macy, Clarence Graham, John Gaines, Charles Taylor, James Wells, David Scoop Williamson Jr., and Mac Workman. And here were the City Girls. 7 Friendship women known as the City Girls marched alongside the men. Although actively involved in the sit-ins and surrounding protests, these women were not arrested, both out of lack of adequate county jail facilities and organizers' insistence. Phyllis Thompson Hyatt, Peggy Archie Long, Olivette McCullough, Essie Porter, Ram Sewer, Lucille Wallace Reese, Patricia Hinton Sims, Essie White Springs. Heroes to our country, baby, inspiring a movement. The jail no bail movement. Right here, segregation is morally wrong. Jail no bail, please be a good American and don't mind discriminatory here. Would you go to jail for 30 days for a cause that you believe in? And here they said, dear mom and dad, please try to understand that what I'm doing is right. It isn't like going to jail for a crime like stealing or killing, but we are going for the betterment of all Negroes. And January 31st, the downtown march, the sit-in, and the arrest at 11:30 a.m. Here's the demonstrators arrested in Rock Hill, and here are their mugshots. These are the 9 mugshots of the courageous young men from the university here that sat here demanding that they be treated respectfully like human beings. There they are. James Gaines, Clarence Graham, Thomas Gaither, James Wells, Robert McCullough, Willie McLeod, David Williamson Jr., and Mac Workman. Heroes to our country. The trial, they had the chain gang sentence and the chain gang work. Visiting day, they were treated badly. We found ourselves in a 12 by 12 foot dark room, furnished with a commode, a small sink, and 1 long drinking cup. So they first had solitary confinement. You press here to hear the Oh Freedom song. song called Oh Freedom. The protest continued, and on this poster, in the screen, you can see some of the footage from that period of the young people fighting for their rights to be respected as human beings, not standing up for the injustices of prejudiced, hateful people that tried to keep them and deny them of their basic civil rights in this country, and those entitled ones that tried to deny them of their rights, which are now on the wrong side of history. I would say Reverend Ivory was arrested, and Rock Hill issues a firm policy. You should research this on February 24th, day 23, day 22. March 2nd, day 29, they were released from prison. And I think there was something here. Look at this part. This is a Baby Ruth bar that says, would you share one candy bar between 8 people over 3 days? That's all the food that they had to eat, because they were treated so disrespectfully by these entitled, bully individuals that were on the wrong side of history. Now, I want to say to you, in this beautiful monument they've created to show this historical movement, silent voices of truth and right, speak now, tomorrow will be too late. Reverend Cecil Ivory said that. This movement continues to inspire generations of activists and leaders who believe that equality and justice are for everyone. How will you continue the movement? Well, let me tell you how we're going to continue the movement. Here in Rock Hill, the local mercantile store that has the owners there sponsoring, attempting to organize and sponsor the local Pride celebration in Rock Hill, have been bullied, intimidated. Things are being said to them, and people who are in the government here locally are trying to tell them and deny them the right to have their parade. But what I want to say to those people in Rock Hill that are trying to perpetrate that hatred and that judgment is that you cannot find yourself, please don't find yourself on the wrong side of history, because we will not allow disrespect. You have been entitled for too long, and you're trying to deny people rights, judge people. It's the opposite of what God wants. God wants love in the world. It is not your place to judge. And you should not deny our beautiful LGBTQ youth and trans youth from having their Pride celebration. You shouldn't try to disrespect them, because you will be on the posters, on the walls, in the presentations and museums on the wrong side of history. You will be known as a hate monger. Your names will be revealed, and the light will be shined upon your hatred. Please reconsider your position and don't try to roadblock the beautiful work being done by Mercantile and the owners of Mercantile to have this community recognize that we are all sacred beings, that people should be loved how they are, and God created us all in His image. And your beautiful individual LGBTQ trans youth are no less of a human being and deserve no less respect. The LGBTQ community in general should not be treated this way. So please listen to Oz the Great and Powerful, because you don't want the world's eyes are going to be watching through social media, through documentaries, and other things are going to be watching your behavior and your actions. And trust me when I say, you don't want to find yourself on the wrong side of history and have your mugshot up on the wall as a hate monger and a person trying to enforce and stop the great work that's being done here to just basically respect people and allow them to celebrate themselves. So please reconsider your position. Do God's work on earth. Let God judge. It's not your position. You are commanded to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I know that you wouldn't want to be treated disrespectfully, being told that you're a sinner or less than someone else. Just stop it. No one is doing anything wrong to you. They're just trying to exist in this world as creative individuals the way they were born. And how dare you come and try to inject your trauma upon people that are not asking for it. And you are in position of government. You should be objective and not do that. They are taxpayers as well. You have to understand that now the eyes of the world through social media are going to be upon you, and they're going to be watching. So please reconsider your position. Go up to the mountains and meditate if you need to. Look at God's beautiful rainbows and all of God's creation and see that if you follow God's commandment, you will have love in your heart. You will not judge. It's not your place. You will not try to deny people their basic human rights and dignity. And you should reconsider as leaders of the city how you are bullying and intimidating people, because you will be known by your actions. Your names will be called out and the world's eyes will be upon you. Promise me and listen to that, because Oz the Great and Powerful is telling you that I will send my legions of flying monkeys and munchkins, and the eyes of the world, as I said, through social media are going to be watching. So please reconsider your position and end up on the right side of history. Otherwise, your legacy will be one left behind of hatred and closed-minded bigotry, and you don't want that. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't want to be on the dark side. Please use the force, baby, and come to the good side of light, of love and God's love. And don't be a horrible pariah, despised person in history that will be viewed as someone who is ignorant, closed-minded, and closed-heart, because God doesn't want us to behave that way. Listen to what I'm telling you now, and give love and lift somebody up and inspire someone here in beautiful Rock Hill, North Carolina, baby, where we are rocking and rolling, and we're going to give love until the last breath that we have. We will give love and hug everybody and lift them up. And Zebby's pissed at anybody who's being a bully to the mercantile people. Listen to him. He's going to tell you right now. Tell him, Zebby. Tell him. See? Zebby's going to bite you in the butt if you don't stop behaving that way, and if you don't give love, he's going to bite you in the butt. So watch out, because Zebby Stardust is coming, baby, and so is Oz the Great and Powerful. So don't try to stop the Pride celebration here in Rock Hill. It's going to happen, and we're going to be loving, and we're going to be peaceful, and you can't stop it. So you better think and consider your position and end up on the right side of history. Give love, everybody. All you need is love. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. All you need is love. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. In Rock Hill, South Carolina. Okay.